Hey Lewis, it's Ed Zoller. I'm going to be doing a personalized market update for Parrish, Florida, zip code 34219. Hope you enjoy this. I'm going to go not super fast through this, but something so you can pause and take a look at the graphs and everything else. Okay, let's get to it. So, all right. First and foremost, always the most important piece of data, inventory. And as you can see here, the long-term average here, right? Your inventory didn't really change that much. I mean, plus minus 5, 6, 10 homes at the most. I mean, maybe 170, and then went down to 160, and then a big pop into when the interest rates kind of went up from the Feds in 2018. Then they lowered them again, and then the inventory went back to normal, and then a little bit of pop here, and then COVID happened, and all the inventory disappeared. Why? I guarantee you that more than half of those listings just pulled themselves from the market. They didn't sell, they just pulled themselves off because of COVID. Then you had, you had 20-something homes for sale, and then look what happened right after that. After the big, huge investor surge of 2021, 2022, the inventory started skyrocketing. And right now, you're currently sitting at 304 homes. That's a 1,120% increase. No, this isn't watching NVIDIA stock. This is how much inventory you gained. When you gain a lot of inventory and it's not selling as fast and you're gaining that many more homes for just a particular zip code, that is not a good sign of stability when you have inventory that high. Comparing your zip code to other ones in your area, you can see here the for sale inventory for 34219 is right here. Obviously, your population is a little less than some of these other zip codes, but you can see here all the negative growth. This is a feature I put in these graphs to show, are they going up or down? For some reason, this zip code from last year is showing a little bit of growth, although they are almost the worst overvalued area with a huge value to income ratio and a lot of price cuts. How are you doing? Well, this is what this graph is saying. You're 25%. I have another graph that shows that you're over 40% overvalued. Value to income ratio, not quite in line. And then the price cut percentages. We're going to discuss all these individually, but you are ranking right now for your whole metro. I mean, this is Sarasota, Brandon, Bradenton, everything south pretty much of Tampa and Northport. That's a lot of zip codes. You're ranking number 7 right now. Okay, so your home value growth, and as you can tell all the way back from 2001, and how much your homes have averaged and gone up. With low interest rates, I would say your average was right around 4 to 5% a year. Obviously, this was stupid in 2006. It corrected stupid and then kind of leveled back into that 3, 4, 5%. This huge influx here was when all your foreclosures left the market, and then it kind of just got back to a very boring yet slow and steady, predictable market. And then COVID happens, you have a stupid huge number. So what do you think happens? When you have a stupid unfounded number, it goes stupid on the way back. Stupid unfounded number, even worse than the last boom. You appreciated more than you even did last time. And what do you think is going to happen? Look at how steep this graph is. All the way down, and it's getting further away from this center line. So currently right now, your homes are losing 1.9% per month. That is 12 to 14% a year, as long as that 1.9 stays the same. But it's funny, it doesn't. It could probably drop down to 4, 16, 6, negative 20% like it did last time. So I would be careful eye on this. This is not looking promising for that zip code. Your average home price, again, look at how it just kind of goes up. Now, I want to explain something about this graph. This little trend line here, average home price, the fundamentals behind it is because income goes up. As income goes up, I guarantee you income probably went up and has very similar graph. Gives me an idea to actually post the income graph and put it overlaid on this one, because you'll probably see it's the same darn thing. And then we hit a big boom in 2006, and you guys, price exploded, and then you exploded back down again to the stupid levels of foreclosureville. Then it kind of got back on track, and as your income grew, because interest rates pretty much stayed the same from 2015, that 2018 they tried doing a hike for a couple months, and then month over month, boom, 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 2020, middle 2020, all of a sudden, what was this? unfounded stupidity right up to that 502,000 is your actual peak, and now you're doing the slow trickle down again. This was at least a correction that only took 3 years. This slow trickle down is going to be painfully long as it keeps continuing this. Currently, your price of your average home is 468,000, well above what it was here. And we're going to talk about affordability and average income because I did track that a little bit in the next slide. But whenever you have a huge skyrocket up, guess what? It fills back again. Again, I'm not talking about a stock. It's kind of, I'm talking lingo for stock people out there. But this huge increase here, unfounded, it has to kind of get back to this level here. And I actually did a little calculation of where your prices actually should be by using this graph. This is taking the interest rate, your home price, and calculating what percentage of that mortgage payment on that home price, that interest rate, is a function of the zip code. Your average household income for that zip code is $108,015 per household. And looking at this graph here, other than the stupid boom that we had, that we know what happened afterwards, a huge crash, and then this stupid boom here, what do you see? I see 16 to 18% of gross income going to a mortgage. So let's calculate that. Let's take 20% as a long-term average and say that 108,000 times 20% divided by 12 would be a payment of $1,800. And right now, that home is $3,240 with the current conditions. So what has to happen? Interest rates would have to go down to under 1% to keep these prices stable. It's not going to do that. I don't think it's going to go down at all this year, according to what the Fed said. So let's say interest rates have to stay the same. We'd have to make this monthly payment almost cut in half, a little less than that, 80%, a cut of 40% or something like that. And how are you going to do that? You'd have to drop your house price from 400 and change down to 200 and change. That's what's going to make it affordable as long as interest rates and insurance stays the same. So this is not looking promising at all. This is actually right now currently sitting at 36%, is higher than the last boom, except for the very peak of that boom. Where do you think this graph's going to go? It's going to get back towards center line as it did from 2008 all the way to COVID. It hovered around that line no matter what happened. Price cuts is an indicator I look at. If the more people price cutting over the historic norms, the more in turmoil and more volatile that zip code market is. And as you can see here, you're currently at 31.5%. You are 29% higher than your historic average. So not looking good on the price cuts. 31% is pretty high. Obviously, in a market that's failing, it takes longer to sell a home. And as you can see in 2017, it took about 70 days, hovered around average about 50, 55 homes, a little bit longer during the COVID time, and then they plummet down where houses sold in a week. And here we are right back past the center line, right back into this here. So days on market indicator showing that it's likely that prices will continue to go down for the rest of the year. And then what I take is I take all these fundamentals and all this data, and there's actually a score. You put in things like price cuts, recent appreciation, the days on the market, all this data you can combine into a score. And you can score any metro, any zip code in any state and see whether that indicates a seller's or a buyer's market. As you can see here, we are slightly in that zip code, a buyer's market all the way from 2017. It kind of dipped here in 2019 or so, became a little bit of a seller's market. You had some price appreciation that kind of escalated a little bit higher, and then it kind of dropped back down to a buyer's market during COVID. And then look at this huge increase right into the extreme seller's market. Plus 20, extreme market. Sellers were selling things in hours, days for 100 grand over what their house was worth because of panic and FOMO that was going on. And then as soon as that got done, as soon as those investors stopped buying all those homes, the plummet happened. 2023, you went back into a buyer's market, but even though you were in a buyer's market, no one was buying, and you're slipped down all the way to what a score is, a 27. Let's compare that to the area. 27 would put you number 2 in all of Florida. For all the areas of Florida, I even pulled in some Louisiana there. Probably didn't make my graph small enough. That's probably right on the outskirts, right towards Florida. I mean, but we're going through a crash, and Northport's going through a crash, and you are too. You're ranking just above your area's average, which means that there's some that are, you're on the worst side. There are some that are better and scoring in the 30s and 40s. But as far as how you rack up, the big thing that I look at, and I brushed on in last month's update, is how the builders are actually going to crush the market. That's how our market crashed so fast last time. The builders crushed it. The reason our prices aren't going down steadily, 10 to 15 grand a month. Last time the builders crushed the market, they were dropping their prices and dropping until they sold the home, and continuously doing that every single month. Well, this time around, they're doing something different. They're offering incentives and keeping the price the same. And this is why our average price is staying so high. So there is a graph I like to look at to see how impactful are these builders in your area, and look at the permit count for the Bradenton, Sarasota, your zip code area on that. This was during the boom. 7,000 permits, the most of any other year, all the way back to 1990. Then obviously we crashed and we built nothing. Your area built nothing for a while. It got back up, back to that 4,000 to 5,000, which is probably population growth. And then look at this. Did your population go up in 2023? No, but you're building almost as much as 2 whole years worth of building in these 3 years is actually more than all of these years combined. That's crazy. You're going to have a ton of builders offering incentives to keep their price high. I will say what started happening this summer down here, which I'm sure is up there, is these things are not appraising anymore. So they have to even drop it further. So I'm going to talk about historic builder inventory. When their inventory is high, it usually triggers a recession of some sort. Anytime national builder inventory has ever gone above 9%, I can actually put a name to these things. You can Google these. And then the COVID-19 recession, they hit over 10 months worth of inventory. And here we are again, peaking ourselves over that 9 months. And what am I going to call that? I have no idea. History will tell us. 3 years from now, I'll name it into something. And then you're going to read all this about what's happening with the builders. But I'll give you some ideas. This month and last month, I got $60,000 from a builder. Crazy, crazy. I got $52,000 from D.R. Horton, and I know they're building in your area because I see their inventory sheets for the entire part of Southwest Florida. They are suffering. Just take a look at their stock. It's not doing too well because they have to offer $52,000 to $60,000 worth of incentives. The one I just got from Adam's Home, not only did we get 25 grand flex cash, we got 10 grand off the price. We got another 5 grand worth of stuff that they normally don't put in a house to make it move-in ready. Then the appraisal came in 7 grand short and they cut the price, no questions asked. I end up getting more incentives on this one, another 7, 8 grand more in a price drop for that particular buyer. And how are owners and used market going to compete with this? They can't. They can't compete when a builder's offering $60,000, $70,000 for a brand new home. And I don't care if you put in special floors and shiny bathrooms and whatever you did, a fence and a full house RO, or it doesn't matter. You're not new. No matter how fancy you make your house, it's a used house compared to a new house. And if new houses are given 60 grand and 50 grand and possibly more coming up in the future, you're not going to win. So an overview, your inventory soared 1,120%, like NVIDIA. Home value growth is in the negatives. You're losing money. Your home price is considered anywhere from 28 to 42% overvalued. It should drop in price. Interest rate current price in your area, you are the least affordable you've ever been in the history of your area. Days on market have doubled. It's taking twice as long to sell homes. You're in what's called an extreme buyer's market. Compared to Florida, you'll be ranked number 2 as most extreme buyer's market. And of course, you got all those new home construction. Welcome 11,000 new homes coming into your area that are going to all compete with the owners out there. Obviously, my data's here. Thank you for calling me on this, Lewis. You said it got a specific zip. This is a specific zip. If you want a metro area, I can do that. But if you want a specific zip code because you love a particular area, this didn't take me that long. It took me like 45 minutes to come up with all this stuff because I got all that data at my fingertips. Of course, if you need anything, you let me know. This will be unlisted on my YouTube channel, so unless I direct people to it, no one's going to be able to find it. This is really just for you, personalized for you. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.